All right, what's up, everybody? Another Jeep Talk here. So, of course, if you're listening to the channel, thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far, who has thumbs up the content. Please like, subscribe, and share if the content resonates with you, or if you know somebody who's going through something like the avoidant discard. All right, because of course, if you're listening to the content, you know we're here to talk about, of course, the emotional execution, right? But looking at it from another perspective, we are here to understand and understand what happened and how it made you feel, and why we chose to be in that relationship, and why we feel the way we do, to recognize the profound and powerful moment that is actually at your feet here. It's presented itself as an opportunity. Okay, so 4 months plus into the discard for me, right? We're coming back from the gym. 8.5% body fat right now. 174 pounds, I'm 6 feet tall. You can imagine. I'm starting to master the physiological and cellular pillar, right? I talk about the physiological and cellular pillar, the integrative pillar, and your frame, right? Your ability to uphold your self-leadership and self-authority. In a nutshell, your home and lifestyle. Intimacy with friends, family, and romantic partners. Your financial, professional, and personal health. Your networking and the resonance of that network. Who you decide to be around, who you align with, who you resonate with. Okay? So I've begun mastering all of those and finding those weaknesses, having conversations with myself. That self-leadership, that authority that we hold. In public, in private, when no one's looking. That's your integrity. Now, you miss that person. Why we chose that person to begin with, why you fell in love with the potential of that person. You see through their masks, you're empathic. You see through their performance, because you yourself at one point, perhaps, found yourself performing and not liking to conform to the bullshit that society lays out for you to abide by if you choose to. But in the process, you become uncomfortable with it. You don't like it. You don't want to conform. And so you seek other avenues by which we can exist in a way that allows us to be authentic, in a way that allows you to be the better version of yourself, instead of conforming to the bullshit that we've been conforming to, living in that static, right? Now, this is my experience, and if it resonates, it does, and if not, that's fine. But you see through that mask, and you see their potential. You're willing to give that love to that version of the person. Why? Because it is a version of you. It's a version of you, of the higher self. And you're willing to give that love to another person. That is your abundance. That is your unconditional love. That is the love that God has for you. The only unconditional love. And you're willing to give it to another person. And when that discard occurs, because that person cannot handle, does not have the capacity to handle that sincerity and that genuineness, that honesty, that openness, that open love, that unconditional love that you're supposed to give your higher self, you are giving it to a version of your higher self. And therefore, when the discard happens, I create this content to talk about the ways in which we can actually understand and forgive and live with being grateful or gratitude. That's your vibration and frequency of vibrational energy to give back to yourself, to live in that realm of abundance. That's the profound power of the moment that you're in. So when we recognize that we're actually willing to give that abundant love to the other person, and you go away, or that person goes away from you with the discard, that unassigned love has to come back somewhere. You have to assign it somewhere else. And so you bring it back to the self if you choose to. You can suppress it. How do we suppress things? You can figure that out. We go out, we drink, we get on dating apps. Okay, we do these things instead of adhering to what your intuition is telling you to do, if you choose to tune into that. Now, what we need to recognize is that when you miss this person, you're basically missing yourself, ladies and gents. And in that regard, because you were giving that abundance and that love to that person, and you're missing that person, keep in mind, you're missing yourself. And it is then your responsibility to recognize you still love that person, and you always will. And therefore, if you love yourself and that person was a version of you, then if you love that person, you are to tune in to the highest version of yourself and give that love to yourself, because essentially you are giving that love to that person. It is the only way that we all grow. It is the only way we all level up. I'm not here to call that person a shithead. I'm not here to wish ill on that person. I want that girl to be the best version of herself she can be. I want that person to have happiness in this world, so I can go and stop everything I'm doing, open a library on the beach, and be a beach librarian bum. That's all. That's all I want to do. That's what I want to do. That's my goal in life. At the end of the day, I want to move to the beach, own a library on the beach, and be a fucking bum, and talk to people and relax and invite people in to learn knowledge. And I want that library, by the way, to be filled with books that I've written, because I have one book that's in the middle of being published, and I have 3 other outlines to books that I am very primed to start writing. That's all I'll say about that right now. We don't want to talk too much about it, right? We don't want to give away our energy. We want to protect our energy, right? So, if you love that person, which you do, then you are to give that love and abundance to yourself, because essentially you're giving that love to them just in other ways. If you're on this channel, most likely you understand the spirituality of it. You understand the energetic state of commonality that we all share. That resonating state of commonality. That is your energetic state of resonance to our common energy. All right? Then you are to give that love to yourself. It's the only way we all heal in this. It's the only way, man. Ladies, man, woman, whatever. It's the only way we heal, man. And it's a really crazy thing to think about, because the older version of myself, the past version of myself, I say older, the younger version, the old version or the younger version of myself, man, I can't imagine ever thinking like this. And I still am young at heart. I still have an ego drive, but I do recognize what it represents, and I recognize its impact on my life and how we guide ourselves. We gain clarity as to who's behind the goddamn wheel of the car. All right? That's your clarity, your coherence, your willingness to give yourself permission, your embodiment, your letting go of emotional attachment to outcomes. And then giving yourself what it is you want, because essentially you're giving it to that person as well. And I'm not talking about doing something so that you can get back with the person. I'm not getting back with this person. But what I do know is, because I love that person so much and I want to see them succeed, god dang it, and because we failed each other, we actually didn't fail each other. We actually will succeed if you choose to move forward. It's the only way. It's the only way we all heal. And even if that person chooses not to, even if they choose not to take the higher road and to listen to the intuition, because they'll most likely see what you've done in the future. When you level up, when you decide to make a decision about how you want to think and how you want to feel and what you want in your life and go get it, they'll see it. And they'll understand who you really were and what they missed out on. But we're all connected, and we all have to share that love in the energy field, right? In the entanglement. We must entrain ourselves. Through entanglement, we entrain ourselves into love. Isn't that what we're trying to do? I don't want war anymore. Is there going to be conflict? Yes. Is there going to be war out there? Yeah, there is going to be. I'm not naive. I understand that people are out there in the karma event stream, and we all are in contention with our own attributes and our own intentions and our own egos and aspirations and all of those things, and our own objectives and goals. I'm very aware of this. But I've been to war, and there must be time for peace. We've been at war for 100 years in this world. World War II never ended. Right? World War I, for crying out loud. Did it really end? So we must think about what we want. We want to entrain ourselves or become in synchronicity of one another. And that means if one person decides to show themselves the utmost love, that shit resonates and people will start to entrain to that energy, folks. That's how it works. And in the event that they don't, they will have their retribution and they will have to suffer consequences. To live is to suffer. Somebody is suffering out there where others are thriving and succeeding. What are you going to do? What decision are you making? By giving yourself that love and abundance, you are thus loving them just from a distance. Keep that in mind. Peace.